So I'm at home. This is my office, my main computer. This is my server. Sides off of it, it's an old Intel X58 setup, i7-950. Got a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo cooler on it right now, with a couple of Arctic P12 in a push-pull configuration. And if you look up here, it's idling at 37 with the custom-made side panel not on the box. This is an old NZXT-H2 Classic case. So I don't know if I'm going to keep or sell this. This has got inside of it, if you look, there are 8 3TB hard drives on a Dell H700 RAID card, 2 virtual disks, about 17.3 terabytes worth of space. But I recently put 4 10TB SAS drives into this Node 804, which is my main computer. And my server duties are going to shift from this computer to this one, but I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. So an old i7-950 idling at 40 Celsius, just with the cover sitting next to it, isn't so cool. It's kind of hot. And I used to have an H80i on the computer when I built it back in 2011. So I thought, you know what, let's throw some water cooling at it again, and enter Amazon for the cheapest liquid cooler I could find. I didn't want to spend a bunch of money. There's an Intermax I had my eye on for about $70. The Arctic Liquid Freezer 2 was always a good choice, but I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on it because I don't know if I'm keeping it. That's my kid after he flew an airplane. So what do we have here? In this box, we have AMD bracket. We've got Intel brackets, and yes, it fits the LGA 1366. We have a fan that just looks absolutely horrid and has some kind of LEDs around it. This is probably not going to make it onto the cooler. It's probably going to be an Arctic P12 again. And we've got the cooler. Very much looks like an Asetek design. Very sizable heatsink here. Looks pretty good. Typical radiator. I don't have a lot of, there we go. All right, so typical radiator, enough line to put it together. So this, I don't think so. Don't need that. All my brackets and stuff here. I don't know if I'm going to use that thermal paste, or it's not in my drawer any longer. I think I've got some Arctic MX12 floating around here somewhere. Excuse my office. I'm rewiring a 98 LS1 wiring harness for a 9902 PCM right now too. Yeah, I've got some thermal tape. I've got some Arctic silver. Don't ask me how old that is. I don't know. Yes, buddy?
Can we pass the football?
Give me a few minutes.
Okay.
Let me finish up this.
What are you doing?
Making a video. Because I'm going to put water cooling on the old server.
Oh.
See? What do you think?
Nice.
So, yeah. I'm going to get this installed, and I will show back up in the video with some results, hopefully here pretty soon.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So, back in the office a day later. Computer's back up and running, closed up. 40 Celsius. So, your initial thought's going to be, oh, that's junk, that's not working. I'm going to completely disagree. It is 10 plus degrees hotter ambient today than it was yesterday, and I don't have the house all closed up, so it's getting to ambient outside. But this type of temp a week and a half ago with the old cooler on it, it was running at 48 to 50 Celsius. This little $35 cooler is absolutely doing its job. I am shocked, but what shocks me more is I didn't put the fan on it. I put a single Arctic P12 on it. Initially, it was running at about 36 degrees yesterday when it was... when I took it down, I took the video right before I took it down, and when I put it back together, put the case together, and it was running about 36 Celsius. So it was immediately a noticeable drop. With the ambient where it is right now, and it's still running at 40 flat, I'm actually kind of impressed. But what really blows my mind is I put that fan in just to test it. I had a Fractal Design, one of these. It came in the Note 804 case. Silent Series R2, which really isn't that silent when you put it next to a Arctic P12. But this is on medium right now, but I really expected a ton of noise to come out of this fan. I don't know if you can hear the ambient there. That's full bore, and that's not a lot of noise. And if I disconnect it, even the bottom fan, what we're hearing is that old Arctic 140 up top. This thing is absolutely silent. I am shocked by it, and it's trying, I'm going to go real scientific here, but it's trying to move a pretty decent amount of air. I mean, it pulled that paper right in. I don't think it, doing it this way, I don't think it does it with the force that the Arctic does on the bottom. The Arctic's definitely carrying more pull to it, but I'm shocked how quiet that fan is. All in all, I'm going to take that out because I'm going to swap that fan back out. For the for the $35 that I paid, the fan, I mean, it's a decent little fan. It is really, really quiet. The water cooler's doing its job. It's keeping my toaster of an i7 950 operable, I guess you can say. I don't have anything bad to say about it. If you need a cheap 120 mil AIO that'll do its job, I can't attest to it working on a higher TDP processor or some of the newer architecture that likes pulling a ton of power. But if you've got an older setup and you don't have room for a 240 or a 360, this little 120, if you just want to go budget, spend the 35 on the little 120, spend an extra $10 on a decent Arctic, or if you're really feeling froggy, throw a Noctua at it. Yeah. Sorry, I'm putting things together while talking, but yeah, I mean, for the money, I got nothing bad to say about it. I can open up the side of the case here, and it fit in nicely. Some light fit in nicely. Apparently has an LED on it. Didn't know that. Fit real well in there. I've got it. It kind of went non-standard on this config. I put the P12 on the back. I'm using it as an intake fan, so I'm kind of going for positive pressure with the only exhaust being the 140 Arctic. That's a 10-year-old Arctic up there too. I'm gonna swap that out for an. I've got a somewhere around here. Bear with me a second. I've got a Arctic Bionics P140 just sitting here. So I figure I'll throw that in it. That should quiet that fan down, and it should actually be a pretty quiet little server. It's just a matter of I still don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. This was kind of my first major build, and it's been through all kinds of different setups from a AMD. I think it was the old Bulldozer processor, the Phenom 2X6, the first 6-core to hit the market. Had one of those in it, and then it had the i7 950, and it used to have a XFX Double D 7970 for a while, and then I moved over to my new computer, and that stuff all went away, and then I rebuilt this about a year later into the server, so got a soft spot for it. But yeah, anyways, that little $35 water cooler, I would not say no to it. It is doing its job admirably right now. Longevity remains to be seen, but for the time being, it works for me.